Every continent in the world has one single nation on it. Each of those nations is one single province. Those nations will be tasked with colonizing the entire world, and they'll be able to accomplish this quite quickly with the massive colonization buffs I've given them. Once they finish this colonization, and occasionally beforehand, these massive nations are free to war over the lands between them as they wish. The nations on the map are Haida for North America, Muisca for South America, Brandenburg for Europe, Kongo for Africa, Palawa for Oceania, and I actually decided to slot 2 for Asia. There's just too much land in development, with Oda of Japan and Mewar of India rounding out the roster. It should be a ton of fun, and I'm super excited to return to some good old-fashioned colonization battle royales. If you're excited as well, please like the video and share a link to it with a friend. They're going to go incredibly quickly. You can see Brandenburg, Mewar, and Oda all very quickly going to consolidate their local regions. Congo making good progress down in the Congo. Palawa almost has the entirety of Australia under their grasp. And the Muisca absolutely running it through here. Over here got Gran Colombia, and then obviously Haida is going to have a big name, but this is mostly wasteland up here, so we'll have to keep our eyes on them. Of course, Brandenburg is going to have the early game advantage with all of the vast development that is over here. But man, China's got a lot, and Japan, which has now formed, is going to be able to do quite well. There's honestly quite a bit of development over here in India as well, and that was the main reason why I wanted to split them up, is just because I feel like it's not fair to just let the Asian nation have all of Asia, basically, because there's a lot of development in Asia. I guess you could probably argue like East and West Europe would also be kind of the same thing, but I think we'll be fine. Palawa has finished their colonization, and they're not going to colonize anything else just yet that I can see. They can't see it. Well, yeah, that'll definitely slow them down. Meanwhile, Haida is colonizing a lot. They're pushing over into Canada as well as down into Mexico and, you know, the heartland of the United States. And the Muisca dominating all the way through Peru. It's going to be a lot of fun. And it is funny, I get a lot of comments whenever I say North and South America, and people would be like, bro, you can literally drive from one to the other. Well, I think you're, kind of technically correct. You can't really. The Darien Strait down here is very, very thick jungle and swamps and stuff. And as far as I know, there is actually not a physical way to get through here. You have to fly. Obviously, it'll depend on where you go to school or where you're from, because they might teach that, North and South America is one continent, but in America, at least, we definitely are taught that North and South America are completely separate continents. And besides, using that same argument, you could literally say that Afro-Eurasia is one continent, which technically it is, but, nobody treats it like that. Interesting to see Mewar jump over to Persia and Arabia. Pretty cool. And Congo's just going buck wild, taking all of the coast all the way into Guinea, over into the Horn of Africa, the Cape. So yeah, Congo's going to be very strong in their region. Of course, Japan has a very big name, and that Greater East Asian Co-Prosperity Sphere looking very solid. And the New World natives, it's only a matter of time before they touch in tips over here in Mexico. Meanwhile, Brandenburg is snagging every single coast that they possibly can, and makes sense. There's a lot of development, but more importantly, there's a lot of trade. And I think the AI will generally base most of its colonization off of trade. So yeah, that's why they're gonna be focusing over here in Genoa, the English Channel, those sorts of things, but should be good for them. Oh yeah, 30 years in, and they're making quite a bit of money from trade, 44% of their income. That's that's pretty nuts. But Japan is actually neck and neck with them for development, as is Mewar. So it's the top 3 are actually super close. The bottom 4, not so much, but they are making it happen. The only one who really isn't competing is Palawa, and that's just because they can't see anything to colonize. But I turned off Terra Incognita so that way they can actually compete. So I hope they have fun. And about 40 years in, we've finally got some at least tenuous borders with the Mewar pushing over here into the Straits of Aden, I believe this is called. And then meanwhile, they're going to be touching over here with the Brandenburgers before too long, as Anatolia seems to be kind of a contested region, or at least I think it will be. Obviously, they've got a very long potential border with the Japanese, who are very spooky right now. And Palawa is getting over here into Indochina, as is Malaya being colonized by the Japanese. So we're going to eventually see them touching borders as well. But number one great power, number 7 great power. Yeah, they're not going to be able to compete. Congo's also had a lot of particularist rebels. Basically, the last like 15 years in game has just been rebels. So we'll see how they handle that. And Muisca is making their way into the interior of Brazil. Aside from that, they're not really focusing much on moving north. I think this is like Nicaragua. They're pushing over there. And Haida, there's a lot of provinces over here in the northern continent. So they're doing it, but it's going to take some time. Oh, and for those wondering, I ended up changing Muisca's religion from Incan to Totemist. They have to reform their religion in order to do anything, so I just made them Totemist because they don't need that. I also reformed them all into a monarchy and gave them high American tech, so that way they can actually compete with, the non-natives, except for Palawa. They're a holy state because why not, I guess. The Renaissance has spawned in Genua, and obviously it will spread, but it's going to spread very slowly because there's not a whole lot of provinces to spread through. That means that Brandenburg is going to be the number 1 great power for a while. I think it's a 33% penalty. We'll see. I mean, they are actually the number 3 great power after Japan and Mewar. A win's a win, I guess. Oh, it actually looks like I gave everybody high American tech. So I guess they're kind of all on an even playing field, I suppose. That wasn't intentional, but it's kind of funny, so we'll keep it. But their armies are already very big. Like, look at this, 250,000 men for Mewar, almost 300 for Japan, almost 200 for Brandenburg, and even 130 down in the Congo, over 100k in Muisca, and almost 100k in Haida. So yeah, we are definitely seeing some big numbers. And we finally have borders with Japan and Mewar, like real deal borders over here in like Uzbekistan. And we also have borders between the Congo, and it does look like they are at war up here in Egypt and then down here. So they're having a 1v1, and I reckon Mewar is going to win. I reckon they're going to absolutely steamroll them. I'm curious who you guys think will come out on top. I lean towards Brandenburg, but they probably won't form Prussia because I don't think we're going to see a reformation. I'm probably going to end up having to force the institution. I don't know. It could be anybody's game. I mean, Mewar is a very strong tag. Japan is obviously a very strong tag, and they got content in Winds of Change, I believe, or Domination. Probably Domination. And Brandenburg did as well. So yeah, there's a lot of like really cool potential scenarios in this. Yeah, we ain't going to see a reformation, so we're not going to see Prussia. That's fine. It's based on the number of Catholic nations in the world, and when there's only one of them, they're not going to get enough events to push reform desire high enough. So I'll just force the age to change over to the age of Reformation. Very good. Well, we've got some event spawned nations here. Funge. When I say nations, I mean a nation. Well, Funge is here. Mewar has filled in the blanks over here in Arabia. It doesn't look like anything really serious came from their war with Congo, but obviously they've drawn their lines in the sand. Somehow Congo leapfrogged over into the Maghreb. I imagine they're just putting a target on their back from a very big, scary Brandenburg. Obviously Japan is looking good, but remember, most of these provinces are enormous and have 3 developments, so it's a little misleading. But I do think they're probably going to want to touch up their lands here eventually. So Malawa, probably not a good idea that you filled in Indochina like that. I think that they're probably going to end up regretting that. Meanwhile, over in the New World, the Muisca having a lot of rebels, but most importantly, they're getting a lot of colonization done, pushing into the Caribbean, taking every single province in the Caribbean, as well as around Mexico and up into California, with Haida having a little bit of a border with them, but seemingly having their own internal struggles as well. Once the colonies are all filled in, I think we're going to start seeing them really focus on each other. But for now, there's still a ton of colonization to go, and we're almost 100 years in. And war is on. Japan has attacked Mewar, and we've got a really big rumble going on over here in Central Asia. Looks like the Japanese have crossed the Alps, but it does look like Mewar's got a little expeditionary force just sieging down lands over here in Siberia. So it's hard to say who's going to come out on top here because they are still very much neck and neck development wise, but time's going to tell. Funge is also doing pretty good over here, and now we've got Fulo who has joined in the fray. And while we got some more going on in the old world, how about the new world too, with Haida and the Muisca going at it? And it looks like they are doing a bit of occupation trading. And we'll see how things go with that. Some of the more cut off stuff over here in Florida is all getting sieged down. And yeah, I imagine that the Muisca are probably quite a bit stronger than the Haida right now. But, time will tell. They've got a lot of room to expand into. There's a ton of development over here. It doesn't look like, it looks like the war ended inconclusively between Japan and Mewar. Curious. As did the war between Haida and Muisca. Pretty cool to see Rajputana has formed, and they're getting invaded by the Brandenburgers. Actually, there's a lot of war going on right now. Looks like Funge is being dogpiled by Fulo and the Congo. So that's happening. Colonization of most of the world is done outside of, you know, the Rus and like the Caucasus region. And it's funny because I had mentioned Haida getting Eastern America because there's a lot of development over here, but instead it went to New Providence, which is a pirate nation from the Bahamas. I don't know how they lost their home core and got all of this instead, but they are still a pirate republic. Totemist. This is just great. I actually really love this. Brandenburg has definitely run away with the great power, and they are the #1 development, as well as still the only person with feudalism, as well as still the only person with the Renaissance. Japan is not super far behind them, but far enough that it is definitely going to matter. It's much more fair to have Japan versus Rajputana. Meanwhile, 2,500 for the Muisca over in the New World is very impressive, as well as the Congo with 2,100. It looks funny to see that Palawa has passed Haida, and New Providence probably is going to get annexed within the next few years. Muisca and Haida have gone to war, and Muisca has won, and the United States has entered the arena, formed by the Pirate Republic of New Providence. Very nice. Love that. There's a couple of random provinces that the AI just refuses to claim, but aside from that, Brandenburg has filled in the rest of this region. Looks like Japan just refused to cross the Urals, but they did want a little bit of land over here on like the northern Caspian. We'll see how things go with that now that we've got borders solidified. Congo does keep on beating up on Funge, and Darfur has popped loose as well. Borders between Palawa and Japan have been actually very steady. Rajputana took a little chunk out of Burma, I believe, but I could be wrong. Do love the cultural map. Very funny. Apparently New Providence is Muisca culture as well. This is all Saxon based. Congolese making up most of this land, with Nubian and Fulani, as well as Soninke taking a couple, and Tunjur. But aside from that, it's really just a few. Rajasthani and Palawan, of course, and 2 Goku over here. Oh, and for das Vaterland, we've got Germany, lads, and they've crossed the Urals, taking some land from Japan. But I don't think they've actually taken much from Rajputana. Definitely think they've taken some from Congo, and Funge is like just a couple of provinces up here, very far away from, you know, their original spawn. Palawa, Indochina has been sieged down basically every time I've looked for the last piece of time, and it does look like Rajputana took some land from Japan, but looks like they've also lost some land to Japan, so they're doing tradesies. The Muisca is relentlessly pushing north, pushing Haida out of the southern, you know, few states over here, minus a couple on the east coast. The US also getting pushed out, despite having friendly relations with Haida. It doesn't look like Haida is going to save them. And Germany has just really run away with it, over double the development of anyone else in the world, almost double the development of Japan, and well over double the development of the actual #2, which is Rajputana. Also, naval hegemon, which is just funny. I like that. And aside from the top 3, it's not really a competition. Congo can't hang. Muisca could probably hang, but they're also super isolated, so the only person they're going to be fighting with is going to be Haida in the US. Palawa is a non-factor, and they have been basically from the start, especially when you look at Imperial German ideas, because they're actually cracked. Like, take a look at that. 15% infantry combat ability, tech cost, discipline. They've got admin efficiency. Pretty big deal. 20% goods produced. It's just like, oh, Germany is so cracked. Base Germany going innovative ideas 5th. I love the AI in this game, man. Also funny that Rajputana can't form Bharat because they need 1 province from Japan in Sri Lanka. I'm a big fan of that. I think that's hilarious. Well, in the end, it is Germany overall beating the tar out of Japan, taking a few of their key territories. Hojo popping out over here in Senshu, apparently. They even got land down in Malaya, down here in Brisbane, apparently. Oh yeah, and this is all Rajputana. Now I'm pretty sure Palawan is just gone. We'll see if we can find them. Congo got absolutely colonized, even though they are currently beating up on Rajputana, because everybody beat up on Rajputana. And how about those Muisca? Basically unchallenged in the New World, with the US hanging out, but yeah, I don't think they're going to be much of a threat. They are allied to them, and then Haida is the other one, but yeah. They don't have like any of their land. We finished with over 10,000 development for Germany, with Rajputana with 4,300, 32 for Japan, 44 for Muisca. So actually, like, the real #2 great power. Looks like institutions really were a problem, but the thing is that everybody's playing on an even playing field, so they're all being penalized, so it doesn't actually matter. I've gotten comments in the past basically saying like, what, how does anything work? It's like, well, basically everybody has the same penalties. Regardless, 1774, only 2 off from the perfect amount of dev for the Congo. The USA with 263, Palawa with 116, and Haida with 96. So Palawa ends up edging out Haida for the lost spot, and military hegemon going to my Muisca. So yeah, Palawa is basically just all of the Pacific Islands, and that's it. Literally just the Pacific Islands. Religiously, the New World is all totemist. Remember, Muisca had to be totemist in order to be able to colonize. Quite a bit of fetishism over in Africa, though the Catholics have made themselves known. Of course, this is all Catholic. No Reformation this time around. Shoot, they're even colonizing the Coromandel and the Deccan regions, but the Hindus still doing okay. And Shinto going strong. Nice, beautiful, strong red color. I always appreciate that. We've even got some Saxons setting up shop over in India. That is that is something. And we've got quite a bit of development spread out over here. This Kipchak province is 21, 26 over here in Samarkand. So it's actually like super balanced. Basically lots of, 18 to 20s, basically across the entire like civilized world. Of course, we've got a couple of 3 provinces, but most of them are like deserts or mountains. So not really super surprising. Since we never got coal, the AI never really wanted to dev this stuff up because they never got institution. So yeah. That's why. Either way, I always love these Colonize Please videos, and it's been a long time since we've done a good one, so I hope you appreciated it. If you did, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel for more, and if you want to spread the love, you can send this video on over to a friend who you think may also appreciate it. And speaking of appreciate, I appreciate you for making it all the way to the end. I'll see you in the next one.